Well, our next guest is a musician, a songwriter, and a priest. We'll talk to him, but first, here's a bit of his song, Jesus, Lord of My Life.
You are the way, the truth, the life that shines so bright, the hope in darkest night. Jesus, Lord of my life.
And joining us now from Ortona, PA, is priest, musician, Father Maximilian Mary Dean. Father, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Father.
So we just saw a little bit of a duet with Marisol. She's a Catholic musician. Tell us a little bit about this song that we just saw a little piece of.
Yeah, so the verses are based on Psalm 102, 103, or, bless the Lord, O my soul, with just kind of a cry from the heart, asking the Lord to come in and show us the way. And I met Marisol at the Catholic Palooza, which was a Catholic music festival this past summer, and we worked together on that song and just released it 2 weeks ago. It has over 2,000 streams already on Spotify, so very excited about that and the message that hopefully it conveys and will help souls along their way.
I want to ask you, as a priest, especially with young people, they're full of questions. They're trying to get our lives, understand who we are, what we do. I'm a little interested in the fact that you are this musician, you've got a presence on social media, but you live the life of a hermit. But just share with our viewers a little bit of what that all is.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's very unique, which I guess is true of any hermit. Every hermit is called to be a single person glorifying God in a unique way. In the monastic and the contemplative tradition, there's a phrase called ora et labora. I'm sure you're familiar with that, prayer and work. So my primary vocation, obviously, is that of prayer. And that comes as being a priest, as a baptized Christian, but especially as a hermit. But my work period, I was a musician long before I was called to be a priest. And so now, having started studies on piano, picked up the guitar, the drums, bass guitar, etc. Oh, love some of the photos here from my past. But yeah, music's always been a part of my life. So when I had my conversion and I went to seminary, I've always been either behind the organ or the guitar or singing in some capacity, and then even singing as a priest in Holy Mass, etc. And as a hermit, I'm just able to record a lot of these things. And the nice thing about the social media, internet is as useful as it is insidious. And it's useful for me because I can reach the world with my music, with my message, and never step foot outside of my hermitage.
And that is great, and that's a wonderful aspect of social media, as you said. And as I was looking at these pictures and the compare and contrast of them, I was thinking of our own bishop here on Long Island, John Barris. When he first came here, he had a little card, and it had a shot of him as a JV basketball player at Princeton University, and on the other side was his picture as a bishop. And the point that he made was, what I learned as a JV basketball player still applies, as a bishop. So I was just thinking of that, as seeing those, people think that there's such contrast, but your life as a musician, certainly is of use in your ministry now as a priest. So that's great to see.
Father, just a kind of a unique story. I don't know Father Francis's last name. There's a priest in Maryland that I met when I was studying philosophy. And he grew up and he learned and mastered juggling. So he could juggle with flames and all these different things. Well, he went on to become a priest, but he never lost the gift that he had cultivated. And now he used it for the Lord in different functions and things like that. But sometimes I think people forget that it's not that the priest is juggling. It's that a juggler was called to be a priest. Right. And it's similar with me. It's not that this priest is a musician. No, a musician, Father Maximilian, I was a musician first, and then I was called to be a priest, and I never lost the gifts. Now I've sanctified them, but they come with me in the journey and the ministry.
Tell us a little bit about that. What was the call? How did that all happen for yourself? A little bit of your vocation story.
It's a very long story, but I guess the short version is that as a child, around 10 years old, I did feel called at that time to be a priest. And I didn't fully understand, obviously, the implications of the vocation, et cetera. My family sort of fell away from the faith, so I had to have a conversion when I started music school in college. And basically immediately when I had that call to come back to Christ through confession, to start praying, to start following him, there was immediately that seed that was there early, but that started to blossom, that maybe Jesus is calling me to serve him as a priest. And so I just took baby steps, starting with confirmation, which I hadn't received. And I transferred to Franciscan University in Steubenville, Ohio. And it just, it blossomed over time. And I think it was just a longing to be all for Christ, and also to be an instrument to bring to souls what I was missing in my youth. Basically, I was missing Christ in my youth, and I wanted to bring that to souls by my priesthood and religious life.
Yeah, so many of our vocation stories are just pretty ordinary. It's, God, reaching into the ordinariness of our life and using us.
So true.
Thank you so much for being with us. I know you've been with us before. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. People can find out more about you and your music by going to fathermaxmusic.com. Thank you so
Father
much, Maximilian. We're so wonderful to have you with us today. Happy Advent.
Peace. God bless you.